really a already pure existing sort of supply chain for what we're doing. And automobile scrap is a mature industry. It's one of the most mature recycling around.
Yeah.
But the reason that a lot of our product isn't making it through that is that the dominant recycling method for catalytic converters right now is smelting. It's big smelters. So really you're just putting it into a big furnace and melting it back down to its composition. We're focused in on what's called silicon carbide diesel catalytic converter. And that means that the regular gasolines are mainly based off of a ceramic type honeycomb where the precious metal is coated on it.
Okay.
The silicon carbide is the honeycomb is made of a silicon carbide, and they have to be, for diesel engines run hotter than a gasoline, and so they have to be a much more robust substrate. Being a more robust substrate, that means that if you try to throw it into the furnace with gasoline, you get inefficient because it doesn't melt as well. So it causes issues in the smelting. So traditionally smelters have said, we don't want this product. And so down the supply chain, they said, well, it's not worth us to try to recover it. So there hasn't been an opportunity for this to be used. What we're now doing and through our supplying is pushing down the word to the smaller guys down the chain that, hey, there's a home for these. Start taking them off the vehicle. Don't just crush it with the rest of the vehicle. Pull this off and there's going to be a home for it. And so that's how we're pushing to get a bigger piece of the pie, is pushing down the message that there's value here. Where there once wasn't value, there is now. And there's value for you to do the work, to take it to be able to process it for us.
Is the volume of this material big enough to get into new processes and making like maybe more industries have more interest about how to reprocess this material, or is just good enough for a few companies?
I don't think there's material that's huge amount, but there is a substantial amount of material available. And it's a market that part of the reason it's been a niche and hasn't been is that historically the diesels were not required to have the catalytic converter. And so they were the last group that had emissions requirements on them. And it's become a greater piece of requirements for emission control. And it's been added to more things than not just the vehicles on the highway, but into the mining yellow iron, into diesel generators, into marine. All those ones, the regulations have become more and more strict. So there has been a increasing amount of product that has had this requirement. And now that's starting to come into the supply chain. And that's going to continue. Because you're 10 to 15 years away from a regulation to